And we are live. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just realized that Sarah didn't notice me bringing my tinfoil or the Reynolds wrap. She's probably like, what is he doing in there? I decided to put on the tinfoil hat for tonight's live stream because I figured let's talk snake oil. Let's talk. Like, Ron, that's a terrible idea. Yeah, I figured, why not? Let's just dive in and do a little AMA with yours truly, and let's talk snake oil. Let's talk audiophile conspiracies. Let's talk about cables. Ooh, why not? So tonight will be all about. I mean, I'll answer any question you guys throw at me, but it would be cool. I thought maybe if we talk about some of the more, stranger questions, stranger things that that we talk about when it comes to hi-fi and being a hi-fi enthusiast. So, yeah, yeah. Heavy duty or regular doesn't make a difference. My good friend Jeremy asks, and I think that with heavy duty, it lends itself to a more natural presentation. So when I'm wearing the heavy duty, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. It's funny. This studio actually gets a little bit warm in here. by the end of the evening, I'm gonna be sweating bullets. I can promise you that. I'm gonna invite Randy. Into the live show. There he is. You mean SOB? I was looking forward to this. I may harass you, make a fake account, and harass you. So Randy's going to make a fake account and harass me tonight. Yeah. So I thought, and by the way, just so you guys know, right up front, for those that are jumping in here real quick, I'm going to be doing a live stream for about 45 minutes to an hour. Then I'm going to hang out with my lovely wife for the rest of the evening. But then Cheap Audio Man, Randy, is going to be going on in about an hour from now. So it's just about 8 o'clock here in Texas. And 9 o'clock, he's going to be going on. So, yeah. All right, so we got a question right out of the gate. This is from Bad99. And it asks, are you thinking about trying upgrading your NX Audica crossover? Trying the path, resistors are incredible, foil inductors. The answer is, if I had my Audicas, the answer would be yes. Now, that might freak everybody out, like, what did you just say? I don't have my Audicas because before I left for Texas as a parting gift, I gave them and my open baffle subs to my brother. I gave them to him. It was difficult to do, but I love my brother very much, and I wanted to be able to give him a parting gift before I go. And knowing that I'm, a stone's throw away from Danny, I can always, venture down that road or maybe even do the extremes at some point. So, yeah, I gave my Audicas away. So, no, but I will answer your question by saying, would I consider doing the upgraded components? You better believe it. Yes, I would go MyFlex. I would go foil. I would take those to top tier level in a heartbeat. And if I ever go down the road of rebuilding another pair of Audicas or extremes, I will be asking for nothing but the best of the best. Because, hey, we got our tinfoil hats on tonight. So let's go ahead and get this party started by saying, guess what? Components matter. Every single cap, resistor, inductor, it matters. It matters. It makes a difference. So, yeah. Oh, hey, they're saying that my audio is horrible. Let me take a look at that and see if I can fix that. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I think I know what it might be. All right, let's see if I can do this without killing myself. All right. Hopefully that is better on your end. I realized that I forgot to take off phantom power on the mics and instead going line. It doesn't matter. Hopefully the audio is a little bit better. I'm sure that was a little bit hot just a minute ago. But let me know. Let me know early on if I need to restart the live stream, because I will. But the audio should be a little bit cleaner now, a little bit better. It's probably a little bit distorted there just a minute ago. So I'm sorry about that. All right, let's take a look here. Every headphone company having a proprietary cable connector as opposed to standard 3.5 millimeter. Conspiracy. There you go. We've opened up the can of worms. You know who could probably answer that question is Mr. Valor, Mr. Joshua Valor. I think he might be behind the conspiracy, to be honest with you. Seems like that kind of guy. Yeah. All right, let's take a look here. Yeah, sorry about that. So I have a cinema camera and it's got a lot of different options that sometimes I forget to mess around with. But yeah. Let's take a look here. Hey, Ron, I was thinking about building an audio note kit you heard out there do-it-yourself amps. Yeah, Third Eye Music. That's Diego. Guys, subscribe to Third Eye Music. Yeah, dude, I think that if you have the ability to build out some amps, I think that'd be a smart move. I wish that I did. That would be something that I would totally want to try at some point. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you should totally consider doing that. Cheap Audio Man. Ronald, I'll give you $50 super chat if you walk into the kitchen and get a stick of butter and put it in the hat right now and then see what it looks like at the end of the stream. A stick of butter. Okay. I wonder if I can balance it. That's going to be the biggest challenge. Let me think about that for a minute. I'm trying to think if that's worth $50. I think it might be. That might be worth $50. The last year triangle was paying reviewers for favorable reviews to enter the US market. You know what? I laugh at that, but man, I got to say it kind of felt that way, didn't it? I mean, I didn't really jump on the triangle train until a little bit later and when I reviewed the Bro 8s, but man, it seemed like triangle was everywhere. Like all of a sudden it was just like triangle, 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 triangle. What the heck's going on here? That could be a conspiracy. It's those guys from France. They'll do it. I Ace of Spades. I think you're onto something, man. I think you're onto something. Oh my goodness sakes. Skahit Audio Lokius. You all gonna give it a shot. By the way, John Nixon, bless you, my good friend, for saying Skahit. It's the joke that never gets old. Yeah, you know, is the Loki? Is that the equalizer? We should talk about equalizers. Oh man, we'll ruffle some feathers in a quick hurry. I wouldn't run an EQ in my system. I really wouldn't. I don't think I could do it. I think I would actually lose sleep at night like an idiot. Like, no, I can't. I just can't bring myself to have fun. I can't. Oh my goodness sakes. GR Research speaker cable snake oil. Sure. Yeah, let's talk about it. What do you guys think? What makes it snake oil? Why do you think it's snake oil? What part of it do you think is snake oil? I'm curious. It's funny. As everybody knows, and I'm being transparent and humble about this, I'm very close to GR Research. And literally I'm close to GR Research, and I consider him a friend. I haven't reviewed his cables or anything like that. I actually just took home some power cords from GR Research just to try them out and see what the heck is going on with those. But what's interesting is specifically with the speaker cables, everybody kind of flipped out when Danny launched those videos and he was waving around and doing the whole antenna thing and So many people are like, "That's ridiculous." I mean, you're just showing how an antenna works. That's not a speaker cable. Anyhow, when I sit back and I think about the speaker cable kit from Research, I kind of laugh because I'm like, guys, it's not even all that expensive. Like it really isn't. Like if you even compare it to like let's just say decent cables out there, we're not talking like the crazy stuff. The really like, whoa, that's getting insane. Tinfoil hat on, that's getting crazy. But if you just look at the pricing, it's like it seems to me like what he's done is he's maybe tinfoil hat on. Maybe he's offering a good value. Like it doesn't seem like that. Anyways, that's just me. That's just me. Whatever, call it for what it is. But I am curious, like Sonic Killer, what do you think about it is snake oil? Like what is your line in cables when it comes to snake oil? I'm kind of curious what you think. So we can talk about it. Any thoughts on bookshelf in $4,000 price range? I have option for focal Canton number 1 from demo. Dude, I got a lot. Those questions are so hard to answer. What amp should I buy for $3,000, Ron? It's like, what speaker should you buy for $4,000? I don't know. I'll tell you what, buy a bunch of them, send them my way, and I'll tell you which one is the best. I mean, I'm joking around, but I will say this. The guy that you'd want to ask about anything from Focal is probably Thomas from Thomas and Stereo. He knows, I think, the focal sound pretty darn well. So you might want to ask him and see what he thinks. He'd probably give you a better opinion. I missed one in here, and I was hoping this would be brought up, but it says, Gordy French asks, "Hi, Ron, any truth to speaker lift devices off the floor?" I don't know, and I'm going to try it. I've decided after all of these years, look, leave your thumbs down, call me an idiot, unsubscribe. I really don't even care. I want to try it to experience it and see what happens. See if I hear any difference at all, but I'm not going to buy cable lifters. I'm going to make cable lifters. I'm going to go out and cut up some MDF and I'm going to make some cable lifters and I'm going to lift the cables up off the ground and I'm going to do it. And I've thought about one of the main reasons that I want to do it is I'm a little OCD when it comes to like cable management and clean things. Like, if you saw the listening room right now, I'm playing with subs behind me and you don't even see any of the wires going back to the subs. It's just clean. And I'm kind of crazy about that stuff. So the idea of like cables on lifters, all pretty, that like for maybe that would be the reason that I would give it a shot. But I do want to know whether or not that it makes a difference. So I'm going to make some cable lifters and I'll take you guys along for that journey and we'll see like what the heck does that do when you lift a cable up off the ground a little bit? I was talking to a guy that does believe in cable lifters and he's aware of what's going on in this house in terms of the floor. And he's like, you wouldn't hear much of a difference there because with wood floors, there really is no big deal. But with carpet, apparently that's where, that's where the need is for. I'm laughing because I don't know. I'm ignorant to it, but I want to try it. I want to give it a go. So yeah. David Schwegman asks, if you had $2,500 to spend on a DAC, what would you personally buy? I would be on the lookout for a Holo Audio Spring DAC. And you might, depending on which level Spring DAC, you may have to go used. Maybe it's been a while since I've looked at the prices on the Spring, but David, I'd be looking at a Holo Audio Spring DAC is what I would be doing personally. Let's take a look here. Anyone know if the Nordis White Lightning will beat the do-it-yourself Belden 5T00UP plus good spades? I don't know the answer to that, so if anybody does, help out Itouche. All right, let's take a look here. Skahit isn't a joke. It's just how it's pronounced. That is correct. They're from Norway. I mean, it's common knowledge. Everybody knows that. Yeah. So You love the M10 from NAD. Would the C298 have a similar sound? No, it won't. I would actually dare say it might sound better than the M10. Um, Potentially better. The reason why is the C298 does offer the Purify modules. That's the same thing as the M33, and those are pretty nice sounding amps. So I would say that it could potentially sound better than the M10, to be honest. But I haven't heard it, so I don't know for sure. But I'm taking a stab at it, and I think yeah. Cheap Audio Man says EQ is for wieners. It's winners. I think it's wieners. I'm going to go with wieners. EQ is for wieners. I agree with you, Cheap Audio Man. I completely agree with you. Have you had any experience with Legacy Audio? Yes, I reviewed their little bookie a little while back. I forget the name. The name escapes me. And it wasn't a bad little speaker. I thought that had an air motion tweeter in it. And you guys already know how I feel about air motion tweeters in that they do have a tendency of calling attention to themselves. And I noticed that with that particular speaker is, dang it, why did you pick an air motion tweeter? And it's just, I think I'm just really sensitive to AMTs. I just don't love them. I typically just don't love the way they sound. I think they sound a little bit weird and unnatural. So that's just me. Champer says, Benchmark gear. I love my Benchmark AHB2 amp. Why isn't it more popular? I will tell you, they are some seriously nice people to do business with. Very interesting that you bring up that company and that amplifier, because guess what, my friends? As of next week, Benchmark will be shipping not one, but two of those amps to me along with their DAC, and we're going to play with them. So let's see if we can make those a little bit more popular if they deserve it. So yeah, I'm curious. Let's see. Let's see here. A NERM at Audio Science Review did an excellent video. That's cool. I'll have to check out a NERM's video. That sounds awesome. Love my Loki, but it doesn't match the size of my Saga. Inviter, guess I need to pinch some pennies. Okay. I love my GR Research cables, and it was a fun project to make them. There you go. That's from Percy. Percy, I'm kind of curious. What do you like so much about them? Like, what cables did you have before? And now that you have the GR Research cables, what do you hear? Like, what do you notice? Is there, a worthwhile difference to chat about? I'm kind of curious. Can I make a swan? Maybe. I can try to make a swan. I don't know. I think it'd make a lot of noise, probably crinkling in the mic, but we'll give it a go if I get bored. Questions are coming in hot and fast, so I got to keep up with this. I thought you were going to talk about the great equalizer COVID per Madonna. No, I'm not. What is the purpose of a tube buffer on some DACs? Does the entire signal go through the tube where there is only one tube? How does that serve both channels, or does the tube do something else, Jeff? That went over my head. I don't know. And that's the honest answer. I'm not one of these guys that try to pretend like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to that stuff. I always was under the impression that would be in the input stage of the DAC. If it's a buffer, not the output stage, I don't know. You know what? Somebody else smarter than me, save the day. If a tube DAC has if a tube DAC has a buffer or a tube in there as a buffer, where is it? Where does it sit in there? And why is there not two tubes in there? If it's two channels, like what's going on there? How does that all work? That's the question. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. Here we go. Sonic Killer 360 says, when you're making claims that are untrue or unscientific. I'm not sure if you have a question there, Sonic Killer. If you want to formulate that in a question, you can let me know down below and I'll try to answer it the best I can. Help me is a good idea to urinate furiously on focal speakers. What? Okay. We're off to a good start. I don't even know what to say to that. Man, that one got me. Percy Bike says, I want do-it-yourself speakers, but can't get the GR Research ones because I can't pull them out from the wall. What do you recommend? Um, there's a lot of different GR Research speakers that you wouldn't necessarily have to pull them away from the wall. Um, Interesting enough, I actually just got some flat packs to do the NX Studios for a fellow YouTuber out there. Um, so I'm going to be building some NX Studios, finally getting those together. I just got the flat packs, and those particular speakers were actually designed. Danny designed them in such a fashion where they don't have to be pulled away from the wall. Now, if you do, you're gonna you know reap the rewards of that, but you don't have to. And also, I would say that like something like the Desktop Mini, which is a little 199 kit that they just came out with, that's a sealed speaker, sealed design. You don't have to pull that out onto the dance floor. That makes me cringe and dice a little bit inside when I say that, but it's the truth. You don't have to. Same thing with the XLS Encore and the brand new XLS Bravo that will be out shortly, I think. Um, they are rear ported, so I would say, your definition of away from the wall might be different from mine, but I would say give it a foot, man. Don't tell me that you don't have at least 1 foot that you can work with. If you do that, you can make it work. I mean, I won't come over to your house and listen to your system, but 1 foot, you can make it work. So yeah. Yeah. Do you believe in break-in for audio not related to speakers or tubes? Yes, I do. Ace of Spades is asking, do I believe? So this is a good question. This is Tinfoil Hat Night. He's asking me, do I believe in break-in outside of the realm of something mechanical, like a speaker that is moving? Do I believe that components need time to break in? The answer is yes, I do. I don't know if I would. No, I'm not even gonna expand upon that. I'm gonna say yes, I do believe in it. Yeah, for sure. Cable lifters are super important. The sound quality becomes absolutely terrible when my RoboVac decides they look delicious. I love that, Scott. Oh, that is funny. Is high-res music over 1644 necessary for great audio? Brock is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Brock, the answer to that question is hell no. No. High res. Okay, let's back up. Let let me be a little bit more diplomatic in my answer. Any streaming service out there, and I use them all. This isn't a dig at them, but any of the streaming services, they are trying to sell you on the idea that when it comes to streaming high res, you're going to get better than CD quality. I mean, it's high res, so it's got to be better. It's going to sound better. I hate to break it to you, Sally, but it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't sound better. And it doesn't take golden ears or a reviewer. And by the way, I don't believe in golden ears. We should talk about that too. I think it's a load of horse crap. I think that if anybody out there gets a CD, buys a CD, and then play it back and listen to it on your system, and then you try the high-res streaming version of that CD, as long as we're talking about the same mastering, I mean, that would be important. We're not talking about like a remaster or a totally different mix. You will realize in a quick hurry that the CD runs circles around it. It sounds better. It sounds more natural. It sounds more open. It doesn't sound like it's trying to win you over with just it's obvious. You just sink into the music and you're like, that just sounds correct. That sounds natural. That sounds right. So yeah, that's it. That's my thoughts. So there you go. Let's see here. Muhammad says, I am so angry because people will spend thousands on cable lifters and ignoring acoustics. You know what? I think that is a fair point. So I would take it a step further. The emails that drive me crazy are the guys that are asking me about interconnects, speaker cables, power cords. And when I see the room, there isn't even one panel on the wall. and the walls are bare and the speakers are slammed up against the wall. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, is this Randy? Is he joking with me? It's it's terrible. It makes no sense. So fix your room. Fix your room. That should have been priority number 1. Like number 1, uno, the most important thing in hi-fi, guys. I cannot stress this enough, is the room. It's the place in which you listen, and then everything comes after that. So yeah, dude, I totally get that. I mean, that is a good point for sure. Let's take a look here. Hi, Ron. Have you or anyone that you know actually measured a new speaker during certain time intervals during the break-in process and plot how it does or doesn't improve? I'm sure our brain too. Yeah, actually, Danny has an entire write-up about doing exactly that. He did an entire write-up about changes in parameters of the driver over a long period of time during the break-in process. And you can go to his website, GR Research, and you can read it and you can see what he had to say about it. But yeah, there's real data, real actual science there being used. Like, regardless of what the guys are going to say, it's like, no, he actually did correct science, like, from beginning to end. And yeah, so for sure. Hey Ron, how do you get gear in for review? Do companies hit you up or do you hit them up? And wanting to see a review for the Loud 12 DAC 1 reference from Greece. Both. Sometimes I'll get emails from companies. They're like, hey, we like what you're doing. We like your tinfoil hat. I wish there was a stick of butter on it. But yeah, will you check out our product? And I say yes or no, depending on what's going on. Or I will seek out companies and, do that. Another thing that you can do is, if that is a DAC that you're like, dude, I totally want that reviewed and I want Ron to review it, you can actually reach out to them and say, hey, I did a live stream with Ron. I mentioned your DAC. He's totally interested in reviewing it. Will you please contact him? Like, you can do that, and that would speak volumes. I mean, they'd be like, oh, wow, they're talking about us, so maybe we should consider it. So there you go. What do you think of concrete for speaker enclosures, Ron? I think that's a great idea. I don't think it's practical, but I think that I don't know about specifically concrete, but like granite. Yeah, sure. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Yeah, anything to minimize resonances and things like that. Sure. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Ron, I did try glass candle holders under my cable, and first it did not see any difference, but the next day I did notice a slight change in the soundstage depth, although very slight. There you go. That's interesting. I haven't experienced anything like that yet, but I want to try. I want to see what's going on. It'd be fun. Why not? Why not? Let's take a look here. Hi, Ron. What do you think of really big speakers in really small rooms? First priority is huge soundstage, real sense of scale. Yeah. Most of the time, it won't work. And I've even seen speaker manufacturers make videos saying that's a myth, that you can have giant speakers in small rooms. And it's like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about now, do you? It's like, no, I mean, physics will show up and say those don't belong in this tiny little room. And the way that it's going to load the room is going to sound awful. So yeah, there is a balancing act. I think that here's the proving case, if you will. This is what all I would need to say is go to a show, go to an audio show, and then it'll answer that question, because you'll go into some of these rooms where they have these refrigerators as speakers in these tiny little rooms. You tell me, how does that sound? Is that something you want to live with? And yet you have like practical, smart, companies that know the size of the room, and they might bring their bookies. And oh, I said bookies. That's going to make Randy mad. Conspiracy time. Why is he so bothered by bookies? That's an interesting conspiracy. Anyways, what I was going to say is, you see smart, intelligent manufacturers that treat rooms, right? They know we're in a small room. We better bring some freaking absorption. We better treat this dang room and get it under control. And they might be showing off just some little bookshelf speakers, maybe a sub properly placed. And those rooms actually sound pretty dang good. It's like, hey, you're wise. You understand that the most important thing in hi-fi is the room, you know? It's like it's crazy that we don't talk about the room like at all. It is crazy to me, to be honest with you. So, anyways, hey there, buddy. Glad to catch you live. I don't get to do this very often. I'm all ears. Trey Horn in the house. That is awesome. All right, let's take a look here. Do you think driver quality makes much of a difference? All else being equal, similar measurements, same crossover, same cabinet, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, of course. And I would say driver quality, that's a bit of, I mean, I guess I don't know what that exactly means. You know, let me back up. Let me say this. I've heard some pro audio drivers, their paper cone that might cost you $20 or $30 that will outperform, you know, a similar type driver, aluminum driver that would cost you $100, right? And what I mean by outperform is it sounds better. It sounds more natural. It sounds more musical. It sounds right. So I would say that Rick, that's a great question, but I would say that do I think that driver material? I think there we go. We're just changing your question a little bit. Do I think that driver material can make a difference with everything else being the same? Absolutely, yes. It makes a huge difference. No doubt about it. Nino coming in with a super chat for 99 cents for Tinfoil Hat Night. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Choose one of these for small room towers. Small room for towers. ELAC Unify Reference UFR 52, Polk R700, Yamo S807. I would go with the ELACs of those, would be my pick. Yeah, I would go with the ELACs. My Klipsch Forte 3s are bright, so thinking about EQ or subs. Yeah, you can do that, Mike. Let us know how it goes, man. Depending on, you know, what the frequency is, you might be able to EQ some of the nasty out. It might be a little bit harder than what you thought, but let us know. I'll be curious. Last time you talked about the Unify reference being your preference over the SVS Prime Pentacles, but what if we try and compare the Emotiva T2 Plus? Well, now that's a completely different sounding speaker. You've gone in the opposite direction. Jason, the Emotiva T2 Plus, that's a lively, very like wow speaker. I mean, it's gonna grab your attention and it's gonna rip your head off if you listen to those on access. So with the T2 Pluses, I liked them just face forward into the room, and they were fine. But it's a very that is about as far away from the Pinnacles as you're gonna get. It'd be like Pinnacles, warm, easy to listen to, might be a little bit dull or boring to some, whereas the Emotiva T2 Plus is like, wow, very lively, a lot of air, a lot of zip on top, might be too bright for some people. So two totally different sounding speakers. Hopefully that helps. It was with regards to snake oil. Okay, Sonic Killer, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's take a look here. Your thoughts. GR's new minis and a shit ager for near field listening at a desk. Jason, I think that'd be a fine little system. For sure. Those little minis sound good. You know, especially at $199. I mean, I don't know how far you'd want to get into doing the upgrades. That's up to you. I do think that components matter. But you know, I think the biggest challenge in that is because I know a lot of the products from GR, it's like, well, you get the mini at $199, you start upgrading it, and you start reaching $500 or $600. My question for you is, why didn't you just get an Encore? You know, it's like, just get the Encore at that point. But At the same time, I do want to recognize that the Mini is built with a purpose. It has a design goal, which is really small speakers, sealed, right? It's not an Encore, it's a totally different animal. But to answer your question, yes, I think that would be a fine pairing and I think it'd work out really well. All right, let's take a look here. Uh, JSM Tech. Oh, tinfoil night. Cool. What's your take on these audiophile fuses? Ooh, fuses. You know, it's interesting. My favorite DAC on the planet that I've heard, my favorite DAC is the Holo Audio May DAC, and it does have a fancy pants fuse in it. It's like this special red fuse. And I'm laughing because I don't know how much that fuse, I don't know how much of a difference that is making. And I haven't taken the time to take that fuse out and replace it with just some generic fuse. It'd be interesting to do that. Um, but I would say this. I think it's possible that everything matters. How much it matters is difficult to say. I don't know. I don't know. So again, I haven't taken the time to do what I think is what you need to do in those situations is ask the right question. Okay, like experiment. Like, okay, is it possible that sounds different? That's the question. Okay, well, how do we determine that? How do we determine whether or not it's does that actually make an audible difference? Well, I think that the step one would be observing it. So you would take that fuse and you would listen, you listen to the rig, whatever, and you take that fuse out, put another fuse in and go, do I hear any difference? No? Okay. Moving on. Or wow, I do think I hear a difference. Well, I need to put the other one back and keep listening. And that there begins the observation, and so I don't know, man. For me, that's a question mark topic. I don't know if I'm ready to commit to the idea of fuses making a difference. And if they do, I don't know how big of a difference. But yeah, so there you go. Hi, Ron. How are you? That's from Sub Annihilation. I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing great. How are you? Good to have you here. All right, let's take a look here. I'm gonna go back up. Sorry, it just freaked out on me. You guys know the drill. Give me a second. Give me a second. Wow, we're getting a lot of questions coming in. Holy smokes. And I'm gonna be doing this for about an hour. We're about 37 minutes in, so I don't have a whole lot of time. Super chats are welcome. I mean, I'm wearing a tinfoil hat for you guys. What do you expect? Oh my goodness sakes. All right, let's see here. All right, I'm caught up. Um, Ron, do you believe a period of break-in will make cable lifters sound better? Matt, I don't know because I don't even know if cable lifters make a difference. And so I have to experience that first to be able to answer that question. So I don't know. Here we go. Mike Huntington asks, do some tracks have no sound depth on your system? Will you sometimes get the singer up front in line with the speakers? Yes. Mike, yes. That I do get that from time to time, and it drives me crazy. Not a big fan of that, and yes, I don't know how else yes, I do get that from time to time. And for me, I just move to the next track because I'm like, I don't like the sound of that. That's not up my that's not up my alley. So yeah. Um Only cables made of yarn are worth buying. Discuss. Yeah, let's discuss that. What do you guys think? Is there an ideal room shape or room ratio for two-channel audio? Yeah, there is, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what that is because I'm not smart enough, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I know that there is an ideal shape. I know that there is an ideal way to construct a room for two-channel audio. There are acoustic parameters that would be taken into consideration to get the most out of a two-channel system. A lot of studios practice that. And there's a lot that goes into building a room for a studio. Just leaning back from the short period of time that I was wanting to be like a studio engineer. I remember my mind was blown when I realized that a lot of those rooms are a room within a room. And what I mean by that is they literally like are building a room and then that room is decoupled from another room. And so it's a lot. And a lot of times when you see these studios and you see like speakers that appear to be up against a wall, they're not. It's actually like acoustic treatment beyond that, beyond the back of the speakers. It just goes on, So there's a lot going on with studios. It's like more than meets the eye. Like you look at a studio and you're like, oh, they don't have any acoustic treatment in there. And they're like, the room is acoustic treatment. Like it's all acoustic treatment. So yes, I do think that there is an ideal shape. This does get into, I think, preference, but we're talking about like the long wall versus the short wall. So long wall would be a wider room, right? Setting up your speakers in a wider room, and then the short wall would be your playing depth, right? So you have a deeper room than you do have, width to work with, and that seems to be often the preference. People typically like a deeper room than a wider room, but that's not always the case. Like, I don't know if it's 50-50, probably 60-40. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what you guys think. Let's see here. What CD player do you have currently? I don't have a CD player. No. Nope. I do not have a CD player right now. Bro, review Tecton lore. Bro, no. No. No, thank you. Chris, there's absolutely the best room ratio. It's known as the golden ratio. I believe. There you go. So somebody's talking about golden ratio. That's Cardus, I think, talks a lot about the golden ratio. You can learn more by going to cardusaudio.com. Yeah. The conspiracy is that Ron is avoiding a spatial audio X5 speaker review. No, I'm not. I'm not avoiding it at all. Actually, I just haven't gotten back to the X5s. I've got a lot of stuff. I try my best to do stuff as it comes in, and I've got like a few items ahead of the X5s, so I can't make them cut in line. That wouldn't be fair. So I got to spend more time with them. So no, I'm not avoiding the X series. There is no conspiracy, but maybe there is. Maybe there is. Oh my goodness sakes. Why do DACs break in? They have no moving parts. Okay. I can't give you a technical explanation because I'm not smart enough. I'm humble enough to say that. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if it has to do with, running power through caps and resistors and, certain components, running voltage through everything, running current, running everything through it over a period of time. I don't know if that's what it is, if that's just the most simple way of talking about it. I don't know the technical reason as to why. I'm not smart enough, but I can tell you that I've experienced changes in systems, and I experience that literally all the time. There's been times where I start working on a review and things change, and I'm like, wow, I didn't expect that. Now I want to back up and I want to be clear. We're not talking about I hated something and then I like it, or I loved something and then I don't like it. It's never a change like that. It's nuanced, it's small, it's minor changes, but it's worth noting because if I'm going to start talking, for 15 minutes about the mid-band performance and I'm talking about clarity in the mid-band, I better be damn right. Like it can't go from there's a lot of clarity in the mid-band to yeah, no, there's not. Or no, there's not a lot of clarity in the mid band. And then you, after listening to it for, however many hours, you're like, what the heck was he talking about? There's tons of clarity. Like this guy's a fraud. He's a fake. So I have experienced it. And that's just the honest truth is I've experienced changes in systems and I've heard notable differences in systems. So there you go. Yeah. I hear it all the time. What's your take on Golden Ear speakers, Matt? Of the Golden Ear stuff that I've reviewed, I actually liked it a lot, and they hold a special place in my heart because they are using an air motion tweeter, and it's one of the only speakers that I've ever spent time with that I was like, I don't hate these. I don't know if Sandy Gross is just that good. If he just knows the special sauce, the special barbecue sauce to slather up those AMTs to get them to sound decent and not annoy the crap out of Ron. I don't know what it is, but yeah, there's something about the golden ear stuff that I actually enjoy. Yeah. Let's see here. Why is there no review of high-end speakers in the YouTube scene? Not a lot of speakers above 5K. There is. I mean, there's some stuff out there. I mean, I reviewed the Sabrinas and those were pretty pricey, and I am getting ready to work on a speaker that is well above 5K. So I'm getting ready to do that. Why isn't there a lot of it? No conspiracy there. Um, I think that it could be risk versus reward. I think it could come down to a lot of those speakers are just logistically challenging to get out to a reviewer, right? It's like, uh, what's the return on investment for us if we were to send Ron a pair of $20,000 speakers, especially in the event where Ron doesn't necessarily love those speakers or they don't measure well or they have problems or they have issues, like then what? Um, so yeah, I think that's why. I think that's why. What is your opinion on dirty floors? There's a discussion as to whether or not they absorb more bass. Scott, I know that kids' toys diffuse, and Randy talks about this a lot on his channel. He might be putting on his tinfoil hat. He's going on at 9 o'clock tonight, guys. Just so you know. So right after me, go and visit Randy. Tell him I said hi, and talk to him about diffusion with child toys. And he won't shut up about it. I mean, he just keeps talking about it like every day, yappa, yappa, yappa. I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. I'll put more toys out on the ground. So yeah, I think it's true. Speak of the devil, Cheap Audio Man says, I'm going to the gas station for food. We'll be back in 10 minutes. That doesn't surprise me. My good friend Randy, Cheap Audio Man, says to me all the time that eating is a monumental waste of time. And it breaks my heart because I'm a big foodie. And I'm like, I want to cook for you now and make you appreciate food. And he just thinks it's a big waste of time. So he'll eat like kids, like whatever the kids didn't eat for dinner, and maybe like a half of like a graham cracker and you know maybe some Skittles. That'll be that's his typical dinner. So I feel sad. It makes me feel sad inside. Yeah. Can we talk about using an IKEA cutting board under turntable? Will it change my life? I plan to try it this weekend. I feel like if it doesn't change my life, I can still chop stuff with it. That is so true. My wife is bringing in something. I wonder what it is. She hasn't seen my tinfoil hat yet. So, um, yeah, I think it could potentially. That looks awesome, babe. Looks really cool. Yeah, it's really hot in here. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Looks awesome. Good job. My wife's been painting. She's a painting pro. She says, no. Yeah, so okay, Wild Star. I've talked about this a little bit in the past. I think that it's one of the biggest tweaks that you can do with a turntable to improve a lot. And that is in the event where the turntable is bleeding into your rack, into your floors, into whatever, it can make a mess out of everything. And isolating the turntable to the best of your ability or damping the turntable to the best of your ability, either way, is a smart move. And collecting some of that energy and absorbing it is a smart move. So, yeah, I would say give it a shot. And like you said, worst case scenario, you can always chop up stuff with it. You can chop up your turntable on your cutting board if it doesn't work. So do that or don't. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Dr. Feichart turntables? How do they compare to the Pure Fidelity Harmony? I don't know because I haven't spent any time with the Feichart turntables. I'm sure they're great. Well, I'm not sure they're great. That's a bunch of BS. What the hell do I know? I haven't spent time with them. I'd be interested. Dr. Feichart seems like he knows what he's doing. And anytime I've looked at those tables, they do look nice. So there you go. Yeah. Talent MDS. Hey, Ron, I owe you royalty fees because I used your line and got lucky. I told my wife I got bass that'll shake her clothes off. Bless you, good sir. Use it and use it wisely. Yeah, that's awesome. I have the spatial audio M3 triode. Which amp do you recommend to pair it with? Well, Matt, what amp are you using now and what do you not like about it? What's not working for you? I think that would be the best way to kind of unpack that. Because there's a lot of amplifiers that would work well with those speakers for sure. All right. I missed a tad of your explanation about 1644 being enough. I used to hear that CDs beat streaming, wondering if that's still the case. Yes, it is. Blu-ray discs are better than streaming, so it makes sense. Yes. Yes. So everything that you think I said earlier is what I said. And not to get back into it. But yes, the answer is yes. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Do you think that there is a benefit to matching cables to gear in a system to help with overall synergy, or should one focus on just getting good measuring cables and let the gear speak for themselves? I don't think you're going to find good measuring cables, to be honest with you. That's going to be the challenge. You would need to spend time experimenting with different cables and then finding the right fit for you in that system. Do I think that it is possible that different cables might actually shift or move or change the things that you might be hearing in the time domain, things that you might be hearing in decay, harmonic structure, tinfoil hat night? I'm going to do it. I'm going to say it. Yeah, I think it's true. I think it's possible. I think that all of those things, hear me, can make a difference. Um, so yeah, I do think it is worth exploring. I think it's worth exploring. To be wise, I would say maybe seek out companies that offer some kind of a money back. So that way, just in case, you know, you can get your money back if you don't think that it makes a difference. That would probably be a good idea. But yeah, I do think that. Oh man, I can feel it. Woo! Yeah, we're in the poop now. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna move on. I am gonna move on. All right, here we go. Let me back up here. Scott Pledger, do dirty floors absorb more bass? Yes, and that's a $5 super chat. Yes, dirty floors absorb more bass. It's true. It's all true. It's all true. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Um. Okay, here we go. I'm back up to where I was. Eric Burntson from Arizona asks, I have spent all my wife buying Reynolds wrap. I have spent well over $100 in total on it. Then they just go send you a tinfoil hat. Ugh. Yeah, they did. This video is being sponsored by Reynolds wrap, and this is my tinfoil cap, and it does actually diffuse some of the stuff that you hear around your head. This will be on eBay later for audiophiles for $10,000, and it's actually half the price, the retail price. It'll be on eBay later, so check it out. Yep, only one. So act fast. All right. Just bought the ELAC Unified 2.0 UB52s based on your review. Would you recommend the ELAC Sub 1010 to round out the bottom end for a small apartment? I don't know. And I want to say no, which is going to be weird for me to say that. And the reason why is I've never spent time with them. And everything that I've heard from people that have spent time with them, they've been a little disappointed in the sub offerings. They've been like, I liked it. It wasn't great. And then I bought something, let's just say like an SVS sub, and they were like, I liked it more. I thought this was a better sub for the money. So I don't know if I would necessarily rush out and get an ELAC sub just because you have ELAC speakers. But huge disclaimer, because certainly Andrew Jones is watching right now because he's not busy walking West Hollywood. Anybody that follows him on Facebook is laughing right now. They're like, "Oh, that was good. That was good." I've never heard their subs. So I don't know. I don't know. But based on what I've heard, because I hear a lot of these things, they're not that great, which is interesting. I've heard they're just not that great. They're just okay. So there you go. Jason says, "Thank you for your thoughts. I'm going $300 minis, sonic caps, and tube connectors. Awesome, Jason. Report back to us down the road and let us know what you think. That's awesome, dude. That's really cool. I truly appreciate that you use standard Redbook CD to test the Holo Audio Maydach. I gotta be honest with you, it was a revelation. I did it based on a good friend of mine. I do consider him a mentor, and he was like, "So you've been streaming with that Holo Audio Maydach?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, it's awesome." And he's like, "Okay, go try some CDs." I was like, "What? CDs? Really?" And it was a revelation. I was like, "Oh, I see what's going on here. I'm an idiot." It's like, "Yeah, but move this review in the right direction and do what you do. Like, tell the truth that 1644 is all they need." And so I did. Yeah, it's all you need. It's all you need. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that comment. That means a lot to me. What are the advantages of using MC cartridges over MM cartridges? So I'm not going to get into the technical thing between the two, and I'm not saying that this is for all moving magnet and moving coil cartridges, but I would say, generally speaking, as you get into moving coil cartridges, you will discover a lot more clarity, detail, stuff within the time domain with moving coil cartridges than you will ever find or hear in moving magnet cartridges. Now, that is a blanket statement, which I normally don't do because there's going to be some exceptions out there, right? Uh, but generally speaking, that is the reason why people graduate into moving coil cartridges is they're seeking a bit more clarity and detail retrieval in moving coil cartridges. And that's been my experience. That's been my experience. I have nothing to back it up. So call me an idiot. That's fine. I don't care. So yeah, there you go. Let's take a look here. Roger that. Okay. Okay, here we go. Would open baffle speakers properly placed be better in terms of bass response quality versus box speakers? Yes. Yes. Yeah. To me, for sure. Now, that's my opinion, and that's going to be based on a couple of different factors. And I talk to people about bass all the time on the phone. Like I have, patrons that call me or whatever the case, and they talk about like bass. It seems like this is a common conversation, like open baffle bass versus box bass. I would say this: it could come down to what I'm listening to, and I want to be fair to the box speaker guys out there. There are times when I'm listening to like soundtracks, stuff that does have like really low end effects, where having that room boom, exciting the room, it does something, and I like it. It's awesome. I'm like, oh, hmm, that that really works. Now, on the other hand, if I am critically listening, if I am trying to figure out the way that a cable sounds, if forget that, that's stupid. If I'm trying to figure out how, how close I can get to, Mark Knopfler or Nora Jones or whoever it is, if I'm really trying to like critically listen to something and I want to hear every little nuance and I want to hear that bass the way that it was recorded and with nothing else added, meaning I want to hear the performance without room boom. I want that cut out. I want that to be removed. Then open baffle bass for me is the way to go because it is fast. And the way that you hear it and the way that you experience it is very different than that of a box speaker where you have the bass and then you have what follows it, which is the room pressurizing and you're hearing room boom and all of that stuff. And so yeah, the answer is yes. For me, Mark, is a great question, but I think that if I had to pick one, it would be open baffle bass because I do think that it is better sounding than what you will find in a box speaker, in my opinion. Will you and Randy be selling your tinfoil hats and audiograph them for an extra charge? I'm up for that. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'll probably sign mine cheap audio man so I can get a couple more bucks out of it, you know? So yeah, I would do that. Sure. Yeah, I would forge Randy's signature on mine. So just remember the shape, remember the way that it looks, and if you see it on eBay for $10,000, signed by Cheap Audio Man. It was actually signed by him. He came over and he signed it. So there you go. I'm a vinyl lover that's wondering about SACDs. How close to vinyl are they capable of sounding, in your opinion? Steven, that's a great question. And the answer is they don't sound the same at all. I think that any time that well, okay, let me back up. I think that going back to like some of the best experiences that I've had with the Holo Audio Maydac, I feel like it's been able to answer the question, does it sound analog? And the answer is yes. It's yes. It's like there's something in there that is reminiscent or reminds me of the sound of analog. But does it sound the same specifically as what I hear on a turntable? Well, that's a different thing. I mean, we say analog so loosely, it's like, well, does he mean a turntable? No, I mean analog, like cut from tape, mixed, mastered, analog. It's an analog type presentation. Um, but does it sound the same as what I experience on a turntable? Not always, because I've experienced some digital cuts that I listen to on a turntable that I prefer more than the digital cut. So the mastering that they did for vinyl versus what they did for digital, sometimes I prefer it. And guess what here? Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I think that buying the vinyl is a complete waste of time. So um yeah, no, it doesn't sound the same to me at all. And it could come down to the actual mix or mastering that we're talking about, and then maybe that gap might be tightened up a little bit, but it never sounds the same to me. It's a different experience, and I expect different things anytime that I'm listening to pure digital versus something that would be analog, truly analog. So yeah, Yamaha AS 1200 with Infinity Kappa 7.1. Jerry, yeah, sure, go for it, man. Do it. Why not? Yeah. Let's take a look here. Jeffrey Y. Hi, Ron. Hi, Jeffrey. How are you? Or Jeffy. Let's see here. Power amp suggestion for updated Spender Classic. I don't know. I never heard of Spendor, so I don't know what to even recommend. I don't know. Talent MDS. Ron, do you experience or your thoughts on GaN amplification, gallium nitride amplification? Example, Orchard Audio amplifiers. Yeah, I actually already did a review of the Orchard Audio Star Crimson, and I think it's freaking awesome. I think that's a great sounding platform to consider. I think that gallium, I think that GaN amps, I think they're legit. I think that they can be legit. They can be done really well, and I think that the Orchard Audio stuff, that is a good example of it. So if you go to my channel, I think I titled that one Class D Sucks. Oh, really? I think something along those lines. Like I was talking about the Star Crimson. That's the review of it. So there you go. Yeah. Let's take a look here. We're an hour in. What time is it? Because yeah, Randy's going to get on in like 5 minutes. So let's go 5 more minutes. I'm not going to be able to answer all the questions tonight. I'm going to just speed through these as fast as I can, but I'm going to be done in about 5 minutes. So just a heads up. And then Randy's going to get on and you guys can hang out with him tonight and I'll get on there and harass him as well. All right, let's take a look here. It looks like Randy just did a super chat for 25 bucks. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that, man. Very kind of you. My wife just texted me. Oh, wait, no, she didn't. Have you listened to the GRX Statics yet? No. Batman, waiting for Danny to build a pair of those. So I haven't. I don't know. No comment on those. I'm looking for some good questions here. You don't need to answer. Remember that crazy room in a video way back when Zoo Audio, it was literally a curved wall that was bizarre room. It was an audio show setup. You know, Zoo. Yeah, I do know what you're talking about, Trey. It was bananas. I don't know what they were thinking. That was a wild that was a wild room. Like, what the hell's going on here? It's crazy. It was nuts. Um Yeah, subs are a pain in the neck. Hey, let me so this is from NP Kloss. He says, I wish I knew a cheaper option, but man, subs are just a pain in the neck. They are a pain in the neck. I'm gonna be talking about subs here pretty soon because I've been exploring something a little bit crazy. You guys know me. I ain't afraid of crazy. I look at crazy right in the eyes. I'm like, I'll stare you down. Um, I'm going to show you guys a little trick with subs that I think you guys should try. You should give it a go. Give it a go and let me know what you think. But I'll be talking about that really soon, so hang tight for that video. Um, is tone and texture more important than resolution, frequency, response, and dynamics? Ace of Spades. I'm a big sucker for staging capabilities. I'm a big sucker for the performance in the room. A lot of that is going to be dependent on speaker positioning, obviously, but past that, harmonic structure, time domain stuff, natural sound and decay. You know, can I hear into the room of the recording? I want to get past just the general tone of stuff. So that kind of gives you an idea of my priorities. Texture is pretty important to me when it comes to bass, though. That's a high priority. So as we move down into bass territories where you don't hear as much texture and tone, that's where I need to hear it. And so paper cone, that's why I talk about it all the time. Tinfoil hats are on, but I think that that lends itself to a better experience. So yeah, there you go, man. Yeah. Let's take a look here. Legos. Cheap Audio Man says Legos. Yeah, that's what he says. Legos is the answer to all of life's questions. Break in is like a hard sponge taking time to absorb water at first, but then becomes soft. Capacitors are similar with electricity. That's what Batman says. Anybody want to argue with Batman? Because I don't. I don't want to argue with Batman. No way. What are your thoughts on people thinking digital data transfer media makes things sound better, e.g., playing a CD versus hard drive saved files or high end digital transfer cables like USB cables? I think it is possible. I think it's possible. Like I've sat through and I've pondered and I've thought about a spinning CD mechanism, no error correction, giving us the ones and the zeros, slamming them right over to whatever we're doing. Is it possible that a computer that extracted that data, did error correction, could that possibly give us a better experience? I think the answer is maybe. I'm open to the idea of that. I'm open to the idea of that. And the reason why I'm open to the idea of that is that ever since I've experienced computer audio, right, as my server, I have a Ineos Zenith, but needless to say, it makes a difference. It makes a difference and it sounds better. And it sounds better than any CD player that I've ever used, period. It just sounds better to me. So I think it is possible that there's something going on there that I'm too much of an idiot to explain it. And I admit that, but I think that there's something going on there. I think there is a definite possibility that there's something going on there. So yeah, there you go. Legos definitely diffuse the piece at the very least. Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's what Scott says. Scott knows everything. He knows everything. All right, let's take a look here. I think we're down to the wire, 9:00. All right, my time is up. Randy's going to get on. Let me just take a look and see if there's anything else in here that I can just jump into that is like crazy. Trey Horn, thank you for the super chat, bro. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Let me just see if there's anything else in here. Techno Dad in the house. Put the speakers as high as you can. New record day. Oh man. So I was on Daily Hi-Fi for a little while as part of that entourage of gentlemen. That is Techno Dad, that is Joe and Tell, that is Youth Man, all those guys. And Techno Dad, without a doubt, one of my favorite dudes. Just a cool guy. I would Techno Dad, come on down to Texas, man. I'll smoke you up some ribs. I will smoke you up some ribs, bro. I'll figure out a brisket for you. I'll do it. I don't even care. We'll hang out. But yeah, that's a funny old joke. Get your speakers up as high as you can. All right. So we're done, guys. We're done with the live chat. I promised my wife just an hour tonight. It's an hour and 10 minutes. We're gonna call it a night. I want to get on here. I wanted to have some fun. Tinfoil hat, a lot of controversies. For those of you that now watch the live stream in the future and you want to discuss tinfoil hat conspiracies, audiophile snake oil, stuff like that. I know Techno Dad runs like crazy high-end cables in his system, and he pulls the speakers like 20 feet into the room. So that's a guy that you can talk about, or talk to. You can ask him questions, so he would know. He would know. So yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you all, and let's see here. What's next up? Hagel H390. Hagel H390, I think, is going to be next on the docket. And then Q Acoustics Concept 300s. Those back to back. So, yeah. All right, guys. Have a good night. We will talk to you soon. And this tinfoil hat will be on eBay for $10,000. Signed by Cheap Audio Man. And it's a real signature. Later.